Hi everybody, it's Sally here and welcome to another one of my machine knitting videos. On this tutorial today I thought I would show you a technique that isn't often found in machine knitting as more of a hand knitting technique, and that is a multiple decrease and multiple increase across the whole width of the knitting. Because you generally have to strip the knitting off the machine on waste yarn and rehang it, this is probably why this technique isn't found very commonly in machine knitting. Back in the day when we all learnt to machine knit, it was all about speed, and so any process that required quite a lot of manual intervention tended to get overlooked or bypassed in favour of things that were a lot quicker to knit. But anyway, these days you do come across it more often, particularly as the circular yoke sweaters have had a bit of a revival and are quite popular again. And of course, knitting those circular yokes does involve several sets of multiple decreases or increases, depending which way you're knitting them, across a row. And for other things as well, tops of hats, sometimes you get it if you want to maybe gather a skirt onto a bodice or something like that, you get it. Quite common in sort of old-fashioned baby patterns, I suppose. You see it quite a bit where matinee jackets got gathered in onto a yoke. But anyway, so it is a process you might want to do at some point. And so I thought I'd show you how I do it. There might be other ways, there probably are other ways, but this is how I do it, and it's worked quite well for me over the years. So you'll need a waste yarn, something that you can see quite well up against your main colour. So I've got this bright pinky orange and a beige for my waist, and you'll need transfer tools, 2x1 or a 3x1, depending on how proficient you are at picking up stitches. So what I've got here is 40 needles in work. I'm just going to take this cast on comb off and replace it with claw weights. I do tend to only keep the cast on comb on for a little while because it is a cast on comb, it's not a weight. This is just a bit of scrap double knitting I'm using, and I've got my stitch size set at 4 on the dial here. So I've got 40 stitches in work, and I'm going to decrease by a certain number all the way across. Now obviously you'll be following a pattern here. I can just make a number up out of my head, so I've decided I'm going to decrease by 7 stitches. Now the way I work it out is I divide the number I want to decrease into the number of stitches across here. So 40 divided by 7, well, it doesn't divide exactly, but it goes into 35 with 5 left over. And so 7 into 35 goes 5 times. So I'm going to want a 5 stitch gap between each of my decreases, and then I need to obviously have sort of like a certain amount on the edges as well, usually half a decrease plus the spare. So I'm going to start off by just nudging forward the needles I think I'm going to want to decrease. So 4, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5, 5. Just nudge them forward at this stage, just so that you can just check the evenness of the spacing. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my 7 stitches I want to decrease, all fairly evenly spaced out. There's a little extra needle at the side here, but that doesn't really matter. So yep, I'm going to go with that. If I don't like that arrangement or haven't counted it correctly, it's an easy matter to push them all back into place and start again. So as long as you don't push them too far forward so that the stitch doesn't flip behind the latch, you'll be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what I do is I take my transfer tool and I transfer those stitches onto a neighbour. Doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm happen to be transferring to the left. we go. And I'm going to leave the empty needles out of work. Now before I strip this off, I'm going to knit one row. You know, there will be a bit of gapping around this space, but believe me, it'll disappear, and you can always unravel the row when you rehang if you want to. So now I'm going to knit one row. There we go. Unthread your main colour, but don't cut it. Just move it out the way somewhere. And then take your waste yarn and thread up with it, and knit a good at least 8 rows I would in waste yarn. And then you can cut this and remove from the machine. Take the weights off. Now, because my main yarn is currently over on the left hand side, I'm going to move the carriage over that away because that's where I want to resume knitting. So put the gaps back into work. Now I reduced by 7 stitches, so I'm going to take 3 off of that side and 4 off of that side to reduce my stitch count, and then I'm going to take my transfer tool and rehang. Pop a weight on there when you can so that they don't start popping off the needles. Now, I'm obviously demonstrating this on the RK150, but this is a technique that you can use on any machine. And I find it the best way, short of resorting to using garter bars. So there we go. A couple more weights. And now I can pull off the waste yarn. There we go. It's removed. And we're ready to resume knitting. And obviously you might need to readjust your row counter if your row count was of importance. And there you can hopefully see it. You'll decrease across a row. That's fairly straightforward, not too painful. Now if I want to increase across a row, once again I have to remove on waste yarn. Just because it's interfering with the camera, I'll do it over on the left hand side. Normally I would do it on the right. And again, I need to take off the knitting on waste yarn. Once more, I'll use about 8 rows. as you do not want it unravelling if you haven't got enough waste on there. I would do normally at least 8, sometimes 10, and take the weights off. Now, I have currently got, I'm going to take off 33 on here. 16 plus, yes, 33 stitches. So I'm going to, at this time I will increase it up to 42. So I'm going to add on 9 stitches. So just clip that main yarn out the way. So I want to add 9 stitches onto my knitting. So I'm going to add 5 on this side and 4 on that, which is not very evenly spaced out, so we'll alter that out. So I've got 42 stitches, and again I've got to space out evenly where I want to put those increases. So 9 into 42 is 36 with 6 left over. So I'm going to have, oops, again about 6 stitches in between each one. 2, 4, 6, 1, 6, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. Oops, no, that's not 6. 2, 4, 6, 6, 6, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's not enough, is it? What am I talking about? Right, hang on a minute. Oh, got my maths going all awry. It's 4, isn't it? Not 6. 6 goes into 9. 4 9's 36. So yeah. So I want about 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got one too many over here. So maybe I need to make the gaps on there a bit wider. 2, 4, 5, 6, 4, 4. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there we go. That's 9 stitches in to increase, evenly spaced out. So I've got 5 on this side, 4 on that, and 3's in between, but that's fine. So now I'm going to put these out of work for the moment. Because I don't want to rehang my knitting on there just yet. So find my knitting. And rehang onto these needles, leaving a space where I've got a needle out of work. So here's my first space. I'll just leave that one empty. And again, once you've got a few hung up there, you can add a claw weight. Continue all the way across. Right, so there I have rehung the work, and again I can remove the waste. Just got hooked around the needle thread there, so that's coming off. So rehung with my spaced out increases. So now I'm going to pick up the heel stitch with my transfer tool and hook onto that empty needle. Again, it doesn't matter which side you do it from. I think it's probably important to remain consistent. Continue that all the way across the row. And that's it. Now I've got my carriage on the wrong side, so I'll just remove it, put it on this side, and rethread. And once again, if you need to adjust your row counter, do so, and then you can just carry on knitting. Right, and that's how you do multiple decrease and multiple increase across a row. Have to excuse these, I've used a bit of old yarn that's got knots in it. Right, so, and there you can see the decreases and the increases. A simple process, just a little bit of extra time involved in getting that done, but I think it's certainly quicker than fiddling around trying to move groups of needles with a transfer tool over and over and over again. And I think that looks okay. So I hope that has helped. If you have any questions, please post in the comments. Thank you.